original way of do social experiment is that you get a group of sample, like group of people to do whatever experiments you want to do on them. But even you have like say 100 people or thousands of people, your sample is still not big enough. It doesn't contain what's like she just said.
What is a big enough sample?
Yeah, so in the original way, we could not possibly have a big enough sample. But
yes.
now we have big data. So does the collecting of, the using of big data have actual effects on people?
Yeah, well, within the world of big data, things are very different. I agree with you. Big data is a kind of, I think, a separate issue. And because I don't really want to talk about big data now because we have a separate session when we will discuss big data in detail, because before we do that, we need to have a conversation about algorithms. And we will come to that. We didn't do that yet, so I don't want to preempt it. I want to just have a look at page 87. Okay, could you read to us the section here that starts from relatedly? Or even skip right, just start from mainstream science studies. Yes, please. From here.
Page 87.
Yeah.
Mainstream science studies scholars seem to be unaware of the fact that the nature-culture dichotomy has been challenged vigorously on multiple grounds by feminist, post-structuralist, post-colonialist, queer, and other critical social theorists, and that attending to the issues they raise is an integral part of questioning the constitution of the nature-culture dichotomy and the work it does. Not only that it matters, but how it matters and for whom.
Okay. Now, how can you restate this in terms of photography practice? What does it say about photography?
By being a photographer, by using a camera, taking pictures, you affect things you're photographing.
Exactly. I mean, let's just go through the motions. We can say mainstream, let's say photographic practice. Yeah.
Okay. So mainstream photographic practice seems to be unaware of the fact that the nature-culture dichotomy has been challenged vigorously on multiple grounds.
And the nature-culture dichotomy, how could we replace it? How could we coach it in photographic terms? Image object, or say image real dichotomy. Yes, very good.
Mainstream photography seems to be unaware of the fact that the subject-object dichotomy has been challenged vigorously on multiple grounds by lots of people.
Yeah, good. Yes, and some more people.
And that attending to the issues they raise is an integral part of questioning the constitution of the subject-object dichotomy that the photograph does.
That's right.
Not only that it matters, but how it matters and for whom.
Okay, good. Okay, so, and finally, just this one sentence here. We're on page 88.
Okay, mirrors upon mirrors. Reflexivity entails the same old geometrical optics of reflections.
Okay, and then this, by contrast.
Okay. By contrast, diffraction is not reflection raised to some higher power. It is not a self-referential glance back at oneself. While reflection has been used as a methodological tool by scholars relying on representationalism, there are good reasons to think that diffraction may serve as a productive model for thinking about non-representationalist methodological approaches.
Okay, does it make sense? Yes? Okay, because this I think is kind of, it's the key. So diffraction now, diffraction is not reflection raised into n power. Reflection raised into n power is what? We mentioned in the beginning of the session. It's something like the mise en abîme. Is a reflection of reflection of reflection. What we are talking here about is, what do you think is the equivalent of diffraction in philosophy?
Multiplicity.
Who said that? Vishal. That's good, very good. There is another term I'm after. I know that we did not discuss it so much around this table, but there is this Derridian concept of deconstruction. Exactly. Diffraction is like deconstruction. Now, if reflection operates on what principle? Yes. And what principle it is? It begins with the letter I. Identity. Reflection is about identity. Yeah? So this is reflected in a mirror. We get an image here. Yeah? There is an identity between the two. Diffraction is based on what principle?
Deconstruction of that identity.
Wait. If reflection is based on identity, or if reflection is entangled with identity, diffraction is entangled with what? Difference. Good. Yes. Why difference? Let's go back to the Merlin. As we said, here difference becomes tangible, becomes present. How do we see difference here? There is still difference, but you kind of need to figure it out. Where is difference here in the Thomas Demand image?
In the deconstruction of what the image is.
This image refuses to be simply an identical to some reality. Yeah? I mean, it does not reject completely identity. If it completely rejected identity, it probably would be something like abstract impressionist thing. Yeah? It doesn't do that. It doesn't reject identity because it knows, in a sense, that rejecting identity is futile. You cannot get out of identity because you cannot stop thinking in a way that identifies between things. What you can do is to say in your work that this identity is damaged, is corrupt, is already diffracted, is already broken. Yeah? So, do you see the move here? What this work makes us notice is the difference that exists alongside identity. Because this image makes it easier for you to say that it is different from a real. But the reason it can be different from a real is because it's not completely rejecting representation, but it makes representation visible. While in reflection, it's precisely the tane of the mirror that is invisible. In reflection, it's precisely the mechanism that makes representation possible that is invisible. While in this work, it's precisely the mechanism of representation that is visible, because the mechanism is the sculpture made of paper. Okay, so, any questions? Do you see how it works? Now, the thing is, you can go with this understanding of how once you understand that what is basically the political challenge, the political challenge is to do with the automatism of reflection. As Barat says, as long as your reflection is your basic model, feminism has not a foot to stand on. You have no place for queer theories, for any kind of alternative way of thinking. Now, you can walk with this knowledge into any contemporary art museum or a gallery, and you will find that you have ways of showing how pieces of art that otherwise don't make any sense actually start to make sense. But as long as you look at, I don't know, at Joseph Beuys, at Pistoletto, at you know, as long as you look at contemporary artists as from the logic of reflection, you will all the time end up saying, but look at this, what is this? It's complete nonsense, it just doesn't work. Why wouldn't we go and learn life drawing? Once you start to see that this precisely this logic of reflection that is the issue here, on its political, scientific connotations of knowledge production, then the work resonates or diffracts in a different way. Yeah. So yes, Vishal.
Just going to ask, at some point, are you going to talk about the problems of existing in a world inundated with reflections?
The problem exists.
Of us existing in a world filled with reflections?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we talk about all the time. We cannot stop reflecting. I mean, how we learn, how we speak is always through representation. The reason my words have a meaning to you, well, I don't know if they do, but the reason you don't perceive them as a sort of a melody, you know, maybe I'm just, you know, singing a tune here, you know, improvising on a certain note. The reason my words have certain meaning is because they are representations. So it's not that we can step out of representation. The question is, what are we to do? We are, and the person who spoke about it in the most potent way is probably Theodor Adorno in his book Negative Dialectics, which is another one of these things that we should be reading, and we do. Which is when he says, to think is to identify. To think, a thought of any kind, is to make an identity between the thought in my head and a concept or an object or a person. To think is to identify. But identity leads to discrimination. Identity always leads to the notion of the subject and object. Someone will be oppressing and not someone else. There's no, the moment you make room for it, the moment you allow identity, you also allow something to be hidden, something to be oppressed, the other, the tail of the mirror, the different. You also establish the hierarchy of the model and the copy. It's built into identity, and yet I cannot physically stop myself from identifying. In a sense, my thought creates the conditions of oppression. Now, imagine this, and that will be my final kind of image for today. So, let's imagine a science fiction novel or a science fiction story set on a planet far, far away, in which we all live under an oppressive regime.
Matrix.
No. No. We all live under an oppressive, totalitarian regime that denies us our freedom and crushes us. So we come together as a sort of underground group of people trying to do something against this order. However, and that is the twist in the story, this oppressive regime operates, this oppressive regime draws its energy from our thinking. That our thought is what gives this regime its power. Yeah? So as we start to think about ways to combat this system, our thought recreates the very system we are trying to combat. You know, it's lodged into our way of thinking through identity. Well, one second. We think by identifying, but it is this mechanism of identity that also creates the conditions that oppress us and deny us the possibility of freedom. So what are we to do? And that's why for Adorno, the very basis of philosophy is guilt. Because you know that to think is to identify. To identify is to create the conditions of oppression and racism, and you can give it various names. So there is no possibility of saying, oh, I'm clean and pure. I'm here to protect you from the evil. The evil, and I'm using now a very sort of kind of comic book. It's very simplistic, but this evil that we are trying to fight against, it is inside us. You know, the racism that we are so horrified of when we look at the Trump administration is our own racism. You know, this thing that, you know, that shocks us every day is not out there. It is within us. That is the actual challenge in dealing with reflection. Question? Yes?
Just like last question. The only reason I asked that earlier is because I think for us, maybe in second year, I don't know, we're at that point where we're sort of trying to, and I don't know how successful we'll be, to break free from the notion of representation, right?
Yeah.
But you get to a point where you, where it becomes very difficult to live in a world full of representations and think and make work that can somehow break free. But the only way to do it at this point is just to make work in the problem, not aiming to say I'm going to make work or we're going to like make work that is not representational. But the only way, not even way out, but the only like sort of way of addressing it is to just only deal with the problem.
But that's why the diffraction is such a useful model. Diffraction basically says everything is contaminated. There's no point trying to separate yourself from representation is another reflection. It's much better to say we are contaminated. You know, diffraction suggests that, in a sense, representation is not going to go away. It's not. You're never going to be able to make work that is non-representational, and trying to make it is kind of create additional energy for this, you know, going back to the science fiction model, for this, you know, oppressive system that draws succor from precisely your own thought. In a sense, what is needed is, instead of trying to get away from representation or drive it out, what, so should we bring some garlic into the classroom, you know, so representation will just be too scared to come in, you know, so we just hang a cross over the door, you know, so it will know that it's not welcome here. No, the only way, and that's what we will find in Lyotard, in Jean-François Lyotard, we'll read it next term, the only way to deal with it is to put representation on stage, give it a seat, make it feel welcome. That's what Thomas de Man says. He says, come, representation. You know, take, you know.
Have a seat.
Yeah, have a seat in my images. You know, make yourself welcome. And that is political. Because that's how it's almost like peeling off or scratching the pane of the mirror. Scratching the silvery amalgam coating. So it's showing how the reflection itself operates. Yeah. So that's why you're never going to be able to get out of representation, and trying to do it is itself a bourgeois pastime. The whole point is to show the mechanism, which, you know, it's not dissimilar, but slightly different to what Marx says in the 11th thesis on Feuerbach, when he says that until today, philosophers only interpreted the world, we might say reflected the world in various ways. The point is, he says, to change the world. We could certainly coach this famous sentence in new terms by saying, well, until now, let's say artists or photographers, or call them what you like, only represented the world in various ways. The point for us is to represent representation. Maybe that's what Demand is doing. Maybe that's what Warhol is doing on the certain level. Maybe also that's what the Google image search algorithm is doing. At least you could see it this way. Okay, guys. So I don't think we're going to go back to Karl Barat this term. I think we have something else to read for next week. So thank you very much. We're done. Alexandra, I'm going to see you next week. Yes.
The performance is in this room today, right? At 2.
The lecture. Yes.
At the lecture, yeah. I'm sorry. Well, actually, the lecture is at the top.
Could someone take the ladder downstairs? Do you need my card for that? To return?
No,
No?
I didn't think so. No, it just kind of stood.
That would be great. Thank you very much. So, Alexandra?
Okay, the answer's Daniel.
Yes.
How much is it? 2 o'clock, 2.
Should we go?
2 o'clock, yeah.
2 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock. Yes, 2 o'clock.
But I said I don't want to. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. We will start. Yeah,